2, 3.
Boom, baby. What is going on, Insurance Syndicate? We are back, and you know what time it is. It is 9 a.m. Central, and we are live here within Syndicate HQ. You guys maybe have missed me for about a month. Some of you guys may know this. You guys probably follow my post or anything, but if you don't, I just had my fourth daughter, so I took the month off of April just to be around the family. Honestly, was still working, was still like super busy, but took the month off from the show, so we are excited to be back, and we have an action-packed show for y'all. I'm very excited for our guests that are joining us today. You guys can tell in the description, just some two studs out of freaking New York that are crushing it, so we're excited to have them with us. But as you guys know, you know what the show's called. It's Winning on Wednesday, and it's been a while since I've been back, so I need y'all to celebrate with me. Go ahead and start dropping those weekly wins in the comments. I don't care how big or how small. We want to be able to celebrate with you. All right, y'all. Drop them in the comments. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. What's up, Christy? What's up, Brian? I see a few of you guys also on there. Go ahead and start dropping those weekly wins for me. Y'all, my weekly win, it's a big boy. I definitely posted it on my personal profile. I don't know if I posted it here within the group, but we, the internal agency here within Clearview, just so my team, we're rocking and rolling for the month of May as far as like place business that we've kept either retained or sold and kept on the books. We're right under 500,000 on the month. So that is definitely my weekly win. Me specifically, my largest account renewed. And that one was down to the wire. Literally, like we had less than 24 hours to get the binder out, get the invoice, to make sure there wasn't any lapses. So that is definitely my weekly win. And again, drop those in the comments. What's up, Lily? I see you. What's up, Sean? We got another Clearview agent tuning in. What's up, Kim? Thanks for hopping on. Drop those weekly wins in the comment. Kim, I know you got some. Sean, I know you got some too, because I see you in the premium tracker group. But without further ado, y'all, I've got two guests, so I want to make sure we have plenty of time to chop it up. And again, thanks everybody for tuning in. It is great to be back. But I'm going to go ahead and bring on our guest. We got Mr. Dylan Everett, and we've got Mr. Derrick Toussaint. Both are actually within the Clearview network and are running their own agency and just rocking and rolling. Dylan's been with us for a little bit. Derrick is newer to the Clearview scene, but we are excited to have you guys with us and excited to have you on Winning on Wednesdays. First time I've had either of y'all on a show. I know, Derrick, we kind of are newer and just met, but it's really good to have you guys on here. And Dylan, I'll probably have you just kick off, man. Quick little 30,000-foot overview. Who's Dylan? And then we'll just go round robin from there and start chopping it up.
Yeah, man. Dylan Everett. I used to actually watch you in your podcast with Cody Askins before I even got my insurance license. So about 3 years ago, when I was looking to tap into the industry, I was watching YouTube videos trying to figure out like what is insurance, what is property and casualty, and a ton of videos of you used to come up. And then, a year and a half later, I started Clearview, and I realized we were on the same team. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But background about me, I served in the Army for 6 years. Then I finished my last tour, got my insurance license, moved out to New York, started networking. And I built up my insurance agency, started with Brian in Clearview about a year and a half after having my license. And, here I am almost coming up on 2 years with Clearview now. So have my franchise, loving it. We're doing good.
You are doing well. I was like, I'm so hyped that you're starting to post more in the premium tracker now, because you're like just issuing multiple policies every single freaking day. I love to see that, man. Derrick, what you got for us, bro?
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, man. Listen, I'm super excited to be here. Excuse my camera, man. It's like adjusting, but we'll work it out. Again, my name is Derrick Toussaint. I've been in the industry, I would say about like 16 years. Oh my goodness. I can't believe I could say that. But yeah, man, I started out with life insurance back in like 2010. Was an intern for a life insurance company. Started out with life accident and health. Didn't do so well at it. Didn't do so good. Bounced around, looking at other jobs, and then I realized like, insurance is where I wanted to be. So started up with the Allstate agency. Got my my personal lines P&C license. Started out there, got my commercial shortly after, bounced around a few agencies. I did like a stint at State Farm for like a year. And then I went back to the last Allstate agency that I was at. I was a producer there. And my agent at the time, his name is Kevin Spann. That's my guy. That's like my mentor.
I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah.
That's
Kev,
awesome, bro.
Kev, that's my guy, Kevin. Yeah, what's up, Kev? If you ever see this, but yeah, man, he kind of like opened up the books. He showed me how the business is basically ran, and how to do things from an administrative level, and just get out of the producer mindset and take a look at how to manage an agency, because that was one of my goals. I told him. So he kind of showed me the way. Built up enough scratch to the point where I was just like, you know what? I think I could venture off on my own. Started out with the MGA last year, and I was writing business, putting business on. But then I came across you and Brian, and I saw what you guys were doing, and I was like, wow, you guys got it going on over here. So you know what? Let me see what I could do with you guys, man. And the cards landed where they may, and here we are, man, working together.
Love it, dude. Love it. And already issuing policies and everything too. And you don't even have all your carriers yet too. So I love it, bro. I love it. Well, real quick, I already have questions for us just from that. Quick weekly win for you, Dylan and Derrick, and then we'll get into it.
A weekly win for me was this week. I did an office building, multiple apartment buildings all in one day. It was about $60,000 in premium in one day. But the big win was I saved these guys a ton of money across the board. I mean, it was $4,000 on the office building. It was like almost $15,000 across this guy's apartment buildings out here in New Jersey. So that was a big win for sure.
Love that, dude.
Yeah.
Adds up for sure. Derrick, what you got?
Kind of hard to follow that act, man. But yeah, man, listen, again, the new kid on the block, just getting started. Yeah, I did bind a few policies, but really the biggest win for me is my social media activity. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm not really a big social media guy, and you've been kind of like nudging me like, yo, Derrick, man, you got to post, you got to build that online presence. And, I've been hearing it for a while. I'm just like, all right, so started listening to what you were saying. Just a simple profile picture change, man. Like over 140 reactions, like 40 comments. People are reaching out to me. They're just like, oh, wow, you're a broker. Oh, my goodness. People who didn't know, they know now. A lot of quote requests are coming in. So, just that one simple action, man, it just led to a lot of activity. So that's a major win there. And again, Joe, social media ain't my favorite thing, man. But you know what? I'm going to do it like I love it until it starts, bearing the fruit that I'm looking for.
You guys heard it here first. It freaking works. I promise you. So question, right? And this is for the specific to the group members here within the syndicate, right? Because we are a healthy mix. We're probably 50% PNC and 50% life, health, Medicare people, right? So, but I'm also seeing a lot in the industry, and at least a lot of the conversations I'm having on the Clearview side is there's definitely been a shift, right? Where more of the life and health people are looking to get into PNC, and then also for property and casualty people realizing, hey, we're leaving money on the table. We should be doing something on the financial side of things as well, right? And so just for anybody, think that you're speaking to somebody who maybe is on the fence or even looking for a different way to position themselves or their agency. My question to you is, why did you choose the vertical that you did within insurance first, right? So like Dylan, you said, dude, literally I got out of the service and I got my freaking insurance license. It's like, for me, I was always around property and casualty because of my dad. So I was like predestined to get, like, I'm not going to get my life insurance license first. I have it, but it was PNC. I'm a PNC guy, and we've diversified a little bit there. Why did you choose PNC? And then Derrick, we'll ask you that same question after.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I like the idea you're selling a service that everybody needs. I mean, like life insurance is great. Does everybody need it? Not necessarily. You know, there's a lot of people that may be against life insurance for whatever the reason is, but everybody has to have car insurance. Everybody has to have homeowners insurance, you know, building insurance, you know, whatever it is. But they want to protect those assets. And on top of that, you get the residual income, right? So anytime that policy renews, you get that commission again. And I feel like you get a good interaction with the client because a lot of times they want to shop around their auto insurance or the homeowners insurance every year. So you get to speak to clients all the time. You know, I always get like a ton of compliments and I love it, you know, just helping out, you know, an older lady switch over homeowners insurance and then, you know, save her a bunch of money. And she's so happy. She appreciates the savings. You know, she appreciates the coverage increase and you can feel good about it. So I think that's, you know, very, very important. But, and then you build up a whole book of business. And I think that book of business can really, really grow over the years if you have the right referral partners in your pocket and then also the right foot traction of clients coming in every single day, calling in, you know, looking for those quotes. There's a lot of potential, and the sky is truly the limit on the PNC side of things.
Yeah. I mean, my main reason was definitely, I remember my first Allstate boss, Tracy Bibb, shout out to you, Tracy, for asking me like, why? And it was like, well, I love to help people. I love to make money and I'm illegal not to have for the most part. And it was like, so I was like all about PNC for sure. But I didn't know all of the aspects of the business like I obviously do today when I first started, right? Did you already kind of have the understanding of the residual components and like just kind of how the business itself works before getting into it? Or was that something you were exposed to like kind of right after getting licensed and stuff? Or were you just doing your research, you know?
Yeah. So I actually had no idea when someone, you know, when my first mentor originally, you know, told me to get into insurance, I instantly think of Jake from State Farm. I was like, oh, it's boring. I was like, there's no way these guys make money. You know, I couldn't see it. So I didn't really find out until I was getting licensed. And when I was getting licensed, that's when I was watching those YouTube videos of you, Cody Askins, and these other people in the industry that have been around for a long time. That's how I got exposed to it. But no, I didn't have a background in it at all. I started out independent, so I don't have an Allstate or State Farm background like a lot of people do. I started at a small mom and pop independent out of New York, and got exposed to all the different options there. And I mean, the idea just makes sense. If you could sell with multiple carriers, you know, you have platforms that, you know, can show you if the client's rate increased, right? You could always shop their rate. It just makes sense to me. Why would they ever want to go anywhere else? So, I mean, it just made sense to me.
Yeah. I love that, dude. I love that. Derrick, for you, right? So, and this, I want to position your question a little bit different. Like, why life insurance to start? I know you said you started there, right? And I don't know. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong. Were you going door to door selling those ancillary products? But
no.
He's like, I was over the phone. We got some door knockers in the group too, for sure. So, you got, if you're a door knocker, you can put that in the comments as well. But why start with life? Like, right? Like, what exposed you to that? But then ultimately, I mean, you're a PNC guy, right? Like, I mean, and correct me, I would say you're a PNC guy first, but you still obviously can cross-sell the other financial products, right? Like, why did it start with life insurance, but then why did you make the pivot really to kind of be more property and casualty, if that makes sense?
Well, life insurance was one of those things, man. It's, you know, people don't know that they need it until they need it, you know, and when they do need it, chances are it's either very expensive or they can't qualify for it. You know, and I got exposed via an internship again, you know, while I was at college. And, you know, I got into it and I loved it. Like it made sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? Actually quoting, you're basically providing a service that could potentially change a family's, you know, outcome if something was to happen to like the main breadwinner. And like, I understood the concepts, but again, I wasn't a door knocker. I was over the phone. And man, there was that first time picking up the phone, man, it felt like I was lifting like a 50-pound dumbbell, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. My first call, actually, to give a funny story, my first call, man, I bombed. I was just terrible. And the guy on the other end, he was like, man, you suck at this. You might want to look into another profession. And boy, that did something to my confidence, man. But you know what? I was persistent. I said, you know what? I'm not going to quit. You know, technically I did quit. You know, I left the industry, but then I came back because, again, I knew the importance, and I knew what the commission structure looked like. So it was just like, where else can I get, you know, the bang for my buck that I would be getting, you know, doing any kind of insurance, you know, nowhere. Right. But, you know, again, I came back because I came back to PNC because, like Dylan had mentioned before, you know, I'm kind of illegal not to deal with. You know, you need insurance for your home. You need insurance for your car, for businesses. Like if you need certain contracts, if you're, you know, a business trying to lock down certain contracts, you got to have insurance. So, you know, I figured let me jump back into the PNC space, but I do have my life insurance license. So let's say if I do a auto home bundle, you know, I could provide the mortgage protection right then and there. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I got back into it. That's how I am where I am now.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about marketing, right? Because it's funny, you know, when you talk about picking up that phone, man. When we first started, dude, we picked up the phone. It was scary as hell. Don't get me wrong, but then we couldn't even figure out how to make our phones dial out. We were like, dude, what the heck is that? We had some CRM that we had no idea how to freaking use, and I mean, it was a nightmare. We had a great morning meeting, and then it was like our first day. We're gonna hit the phones, man, and we finally were like, all right, just pick up the phone. You can do it, and we couldn't make them work. But we were heavy outbound, like for the first 18 months to 2 years. Don't get me wrong, I'm definitely like a relationship kind of network guy. But so much of our business, we just did pick up the phone and call. Right now, obviously, like TCPA rules and laws and stuff have changed some of that and how you can outbound to people. But just again, specific to marketing, right? Because there's so many more. I still believe in picking up the phone, but there's also so many things that are either more efficient or just as efficient when it comes to marketing and getting people in your funnel. And I think you guys do an exceptional job at this. Dylan, you kind of were starting to allude to it. When you're talking about the relationships and stacking, right? Just again, speak to an agent like, hey, dude, this is literally how I'm issuing. And guys, like Dylan's like one of our top agencies. He's writing like, I mean, how big's your book so far right now? Because I know you're on a hot streak.
We're coming up on 2 years in a few months, and we're a little over 3 million, or we're coming up on 3 million.
Right at 3 mil, dude, on freaking not even 2 years, bro. Like that's freaking mad impressive. There's a lot of agents, dude. I know agencies, and if you're watching this, I'm sorry, I'm not calling you out, but dude, they've been open for like 20, 25 years, and they got like 2 million on the books. I'm just like, what are y'all doing? Obviously not doing what Dylan's doing as far as the marketing stuff goes. So talk through that. How do you drive people to the funnel? How do you, have the conversation, the appointment, and then ultimately make them a freaking client? How are you doing that?
Yeah. So to be honest with you, I don't market myself really at all. I guess in person, right? So I started off by, when I first moved up to New York, I used to just go to as many networking events. I would just walk into mortgage offices, car dealerships, and I would just be like, listen, I was like, I just got out of the Army. I just got my insurance license. Just give me a shot, right? So I did that for a year. And actually, my first year in the industry at that small mom and pop shop, I did just shy of like $1.5 million in premium. And that was really because I shook hands with the right people. And I think that's very, very important. So I actually don't chase business. I don't do ads. A lot of times the phone just rings. And I did that because I always based myself on like speed and urgency. So turning around stuff quick, right? Getting the impossible done. Because I would get those phone calls like, hey, I worked with these many brokers and they just couldn't get it done. So I found a way to get it done. And one of the biggest things that I found that seems to work is bite off more than you could chew and figure it out. and I think that's like a huge part of the success in this industry, right? So I would say yes to things. To be honest with you, I didn't always know how to do it. Yeah. But I would call the underwriters. I would, look into it. I did the research and I figured it out. And, a lot of times I won those deals. So by me winning those deals over the years, those referral partners became friends. And one thing I also learned is a referral partner or a client will become a friend before a client or before a friend becomes a client or a referral partner, right? So I think that's very important, right? So work with your friends. So now I have my friends They're always sending me deals. We all go out with our girls on the weekends. We have a good time. We have great relationships. And like those apartment buildings I did on Tuesday or Monday, whatever day it was, that was all from one guy. He's just my friend out here in New Jersey. And, we're doing an event tomorrow actually together. And I think that's very, very important, right? So we don't necessarily market ourselves. I feel like I made friends with the right people. I turned around things quick. I always did right by those people. And I think that's a huge part of, building a successful book of business, right? Because it snowballs, right? So I helped out this guy save like $15,000 across a few of his apartment buildings. And he sends me an email. He's like, introducing you to one of my other partners. And they send me a list of 14 properties across like Florida, New York, New Jersey. And that's how it happens. It just snowballs.
Yep.
So you have to really do right by the customers, do right by the referral partners. And if you're the right person, you'll see everything just come, and it really does. It grows really quick.
I love that you said like whose hands are you shaking, right? And I think that's important, right? Like whose hands are you shaking? Like hopefully you're shaking the right hands. But then here's where I think also the kind of flip side to that, where a lot of agents fail, because they'll be good in person, they'll shake the hand, but when that hand calls, they don't pick up. Or it's like maybe they did right by them on one deal, and then it's like, all right, man, he's awesome. And then the rest of the deals, they just don't show up, right? And I think, probably, just to kind of highlight more of your point as well, or I should say put more emphasis on it, is you're better than 50% of this industry just by picking up your phone. Like I literally have people say, gosh, thank you guys so much for picking up. And it's like, I mean, what the hell? You're our freaking client. Like, I mean, we're supposed to pick up the phone, right? And it's like, but that is the benchmark that we're playing at, right? So then when you go even above and beyond, which it doesn't take that, like you said, Dylan, it's speed and urgency. It's not like it's rocket science. It's not like he's doing something that like any of us can't do. We can all do it, but then who's actually doing it? Not a lot of people aren't even picking up their phone, man.
Yeah. Another thing is you're not going to make it if you're the person that clocks in at 5 or clocks in at 9 and leaves at 5 o'clock. You're not going to make it in the industry. When I first started, I was whipping out my laptop at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning to get out quotes, get ahead. That's very, very important. And another thing is, you could go to these networking events, but if those networking events are just to socialize and, have drinks and stuff, and you're not actually networking, it's not going to get you anywhere. You want to be with the right people in the right rooms, because it truly goes a long way. If you're getting a drink, get the free food, it's not going to get you anywhere. So
yeah, I agree. Derrick, what are your thoughts on that? I know you kind of have a similar, I feel like, method to the madness as far as like your networking and driving people in the funnel, and even just the friendship piece of that, just from even some of our initial conversations. What are your thoughts based off of kind of how Dylan's building his thing?
Nah, man, I agree 100%, man. I refuse to purchase leads, because I feel like you're just renting a customer at that point, right? Like you might win the business, but 6 months down the line or a year down the line, they're back shopping again, and they're going to whoever has the cheapest rate, right? So I don't really believe in like purchasing leads. Again, I believe in building a network organically. Going to networking events, meeting with mortgage brokers, realtors, people within the dealership, salespeople, and just building a network that way. I think it's a lot better. There's already like a level of trust established. Like if a lead comes through one of those referral partners, you're basically borrowing their credibility, and like the foot is already in the door, and the deal is basically yours to win at that point, So yeah, I 100% believe in, building your centers of influence, getting out there, getting in the neighborhoods, maybe seeing the local businesses around you, and wherever I'm at. I mean, insurance to me is a 24/7 job, man. Every conversation that I have with somebody, they're gonna know that I do insurance. I'll plant that seed right then and there. It might not lead to something right away, but later down the line, they may see something, they may see a Facebook post or Instagram post, or, they might bump into me again after they've had a situation where they had to deal with insurance, or maybe they didn't have a pleasant experience with their broker. And now they're just like, hey, man, you know what? Let me go ahead and give you a shot. So, I'm always on.
Yep. I love that. I think we talked about it when we were doing the social media training. It was that last week, I think, Derek. And it's like, hey man, it ain't a matter of if, dude. It's just a matter of when. And that's the whole, like, do people even know what you do? And it's like, and you don't have to go run ads and do all, like, you can do all of this organically or just by like every conversation. I have a phrase, it's very similar to what you just said, Derek, where every person I talk to is an investor, where you never know who you're talking to, who could be investing in your dream or in your business. And whether that's as a client, whether that's as a business partner, whether that's as strategic partnerships, like, I mean, every person I talk to is an investor, right? And just having that mentality where, okay, if that's my mentality, then my conversations just have totally shifted and changed, right? Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm trying to like use people and manipulate them and all it is business. Like, no, I'm creating relationship, but that relationship definitely could turn into something that is so much more than just, hanging out and shaking hands, right? So how do you, Dylan, we'll pop over to you for this one. This is something I'm going through right now because we're growing. I'm adding more producers. We're adding more service people. Like, so we're scaling and we're getting more butts in the seats, right? Which with that, it's just growing pains, and that's totally okay, right?
Yeah.
But for somebody like yourself, right, you're 2 years in. I know you were running solo for quite a while, like, and just running hard, bro, and scaling. Like, how are you scaling kind of this, agency that's found quick success? You adding more people, adding more systems, like kind of what's your game plan there as you continue to grow in 2026?
Yeah, so when I first started out, I did run into a lot of issues when I was solo, right? Because I knew how to drive the business, I knew how to sell.
Mm-hmm.
When those inspections come back, the notices of cancellations for non-payment, the servicing, that could slow you down real quick. So one thing I learned is, I had to get some help. So I got some virtual assistants that I was able to find, and I have 3 right now, and I mean they're great, right? So it allows me to drive the sales, right? So I'm doing the quoting, the actual selling, and then the binding of the policy, and then they're handling the servicing afterwards. And I think that's very important, right? So I have one person who's ready to answer the calls Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. If I can't pick up, they can call the office. I have someone that is constantly making sure our policies are renewing. So they're reaching out to people 90 days out, 45 days out, 30 days out, and call, text, email, CTE, call, text, email, right?
Yep.
So we want to make sure your policies renew and stay on the books, because one thing in this business, if those policies aren't renewing, you don't have a book of business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's super important. And then also giving that personal touch, right? So every time we sell these policies, we'll send out an email and be like, hey, is there anything else we could give you? If you just got an auto insurance policy, do we need your homeowner's insurance policy? Or, do you own a home? Do you own a business? So we try to make sure we touch on all those points. But, my success has grown tremendously, really, in the last 6 months when I brought on the 3 virtual assistants. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I mean,
isn't it a game changer, dude? You're like, how did I ever do this without them?
I mean, last year, Brian used to ask me to golf, and I would go on the golf course, and I'd get so much anxiety. It was really hard for me to step out from behind the computer screen. This year, it's different, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could be on this podcast, or and I just know they're crushing it, right? So they're making sure things are done. And what's nice is, finding virtual assistants with experience, insurance experience, right?
Yep.
So these people, they have, 5 to 10 years of experience. And I mean, it truly is a game changer, and it allows for me to scale and be successful. And, our retention is I think we're at 95% right now. Huge.
Mm-hmm.
Our servicing, they're my virtual assistants. They're in El Salvador. And they actually think that they're here in America. I have clients that want to come to the office and meet them. I'm like, oh, unfortunately, they're in El Salvador. And I think that's awesome, because what's nice too is they've created a relationship with the clients, right? They'll send me text and they'll be like, oh my gosh, they're so amazing. So I think it's great. It allows you to really scale and grow.
Yeah, I think sometimes, and it's hard. It's like one of the questions I have for you is like, how do we, and both of you really, right? It's like, as entrepreneurs, right, and just as business owners, the goal is to work on the business, not in it. But at the same time, you got to work in it before you can work on it. And honestly, I always will. I don't know if I'll ever fully be out of the business, right? And I don't know if that's just my mentality or not. Where I want to be in. I don't want to only be, working on it, overview. I like to be in the day-to-day in the trenches and stuff with my people. But I don't know. I think sometimes, it's there's an analogy. My buddy Tony Merwin used to use it where, we get our head is like so far, under the hood, right, and into the engine in a specific piece that we're missing, so many other like pieces to the puzzle, right? Because we're only fixated like on this one and then you like pop your head out the hood and look at the whole car and you're like, oh, that's it, right? And then it's like, and it just makes it so much easier. I don't know. I definitely struggle with that sometimes because I'll get like super hyper focused and it's like I'm trying to like, man, why is this not working? It's like, well, because I'm freaking too far into the hood, right? I need to take a step back and look like, oh, okay, it is maybe this process, right? And I love that you said like the virtual assistants, dude, when you're getting like positive reviews and testimonials from people, like a shout out to Viva and Lily. Lily, I think you're on here now. Bro, I couldn't do it without him, man. And it's like, no, there's nothing better than it's like, dude, Nikki, my new assistant, she's freaking awesome. She gets crazy good reviews from everybody. Yeah. She's just exceptional at what she does. Man, it's just a game changer, bro, where it's like, gosh, sometimes it is just adding a couple extra people. And then it's like, I don't need to go get the new shiny object or this, or like, let's just utilize more of what we have, get a little bit better, and then, scale from there. So,
yeah. And also, as an entrepreneur, I feel like we always have to keep our head on a swivel. If you're just like locked in straight, I feel like you could have those blinders on and then you don't see all the problems that are forming around you, right? So you have to keep your head on a swivel, have a plan, have goals and benchmarks, hit those goals and benchmarks, right? And then it's really just outwork, out improve, and out strategize, and you're already ahead of the game. And if you have the right systems and processes in place, you can really scale your book to be a monster book, right? So we have a goal right now where it's me, I'm the only producer. We just actually brought on one guy or two guys a few months back. They're part-time, they're just getting their feet wet.
Okay.
They have full-time jobs and, they'll just sell a couple policies. But we have a goal of $275,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
And every single month so far this year, we've hit that.
Let's go. That's
so we're really trying to scale this year.
Mm-hmm.
And, we want to have, a $10 million book, I would say, by year 4. That's cool. So,
I mean, you add a couple more freaking people to that thing that's producing alongside you, right? And it's like, and that's always a tough one too. And then I'll turn it over to you, Derrick, because I'm curious on your thoughts, because you're just now getting into this thing, right? But you've also been exposed to the business side, so you kind of already know what the big picture is because you've seen it. Now it's like I'm building my thing, right? But yeah, well, actually, I'll just turn it over to you there on that, Derrick. Where like, what are your thoughts about, okay, I'm new, I'm in this thing. The goal is to work on the business. I've seen the business side of it. So that is like, I know you can work on it, not in it, but I got to work in it right now. Where are you at with all that? And just like balancing the things and just trying to stay afloat right now.
Man, there's 24 hours in a day. You got to figure out how you're going to allocate each 15-minute block. You know what I mean? So yeah, like you said, I'm working in the business, but I'm also working on the business. So like when Dylan said, sometimes you're up until like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., just getting quotes done or doing admin, that's where I'm at right now, and man, I can't wait to get a virtual assistant and get some of this stuff off of me. You know what I mean? But for the meantime now, owner operator, I'm handling everything. And, sometimes, like you said, you gotta take a step back. And I've even realized that myself as well, too. Like sometimes I'm so deep in the quoting, like there's a better way to do things or a more efficient way to do things. You just got to step back and then see it. And, I feel like, before I wasted a lot of time just like hitting my head on the wall where, maybe I could have went in my AMS or could have went in Easy Links and they already had the solution in there. If I just took a moment to step back and just like, assess the situation from a more objective point of view. So yeah, man, that's where I'm at right now.
Isn't it hard to do that though? Because it's
very hard.
It's like difficult. At the same time, like one of my biggest strengths, dude, is I move fast. You will never see me slipping on making a decision. Like I will shoot now, aim later, no freaking problem. But that's also my biggest weakness, right? Because sometimes it's like, yo, Joe, like slow down just a second, and you won't go. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like that's just me, right? Where I'm going, and sometimes I'm going too fast, but at the same time, I got to go fast. That's just how I run,
Right. Nah, I hear you on that, man, because that's how I am naturally. Again, very high energy, just want to, get to the finish line. But I realized a lot of the times when I go too fast, I make mistakes and I have to double back and redo the work that I already did, So I figured, you know what? Let me pump my brakes a little bit. Let me actually take my time with certain things, make sure I do them right so I don't have to do them again. You know what I mean?
Yep. 100%. If you guys got any questions, feel free to drop them in. I see you guys all tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. I got my Pops on here. What's up, Pops? Good to see you. He said he's not lying. That's good. Appreciate you, Pops. So I guess as we're kind of talking about scaling, right, and people, let's talk about the actual products themselves. I want to use this kind of a little bit more. I didn't know 100% where we're going to go with this, but I like this for like a new agent, right, or somebody who's thinking about, again, potentially making the pivot and looking at PNC or the different lines of business. What lines of business? I think everybody knows, like when I'm talking about, a $430,000 renewal, that's not a personal auto policy. So you guys know that I like commercial insurance and working with business owners, and typically business owners aren't walking to work, they're driving their cars, and then we cross sell into the personal lines. But Derrick, we'll actually start with you on this one, and then Dylan, we'll come back to you. Just what lines of business would you encourage people to look at? Are you like, hey man, I do it all? Or is it, man, I have a primary focus and then I'll cross sell into other stuff? Like what's your kind of game plan there, Derrick?
Well, right now, I'm trying. Before I was doing it all, and I realized sometimes you could kind of spin your wheels on that, and because you're like doing it all, there's like no focus, and sometimes your goals may escape you. So like right now, I'm focusing more so on the homes. I feel like the home is very sticky business, especially new home purchases. Because when you get them when they're first purchasing, you can introduce yourself. All right, chances are if they have a home, they probably have cars, probably a family, maybe. Definitely a need for life insurance right out the gate. You're taking a mortgage. That's probably like one of the biggest purchases you're making of your life. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely want to go ahead and protect that. And, as I'm learning about the customer through the home sale, and getting more information on them, you might find out, hey, they're also a business owner, or they may have other properties that they may be purchasing. Or, one person I came across recently is actually a developer. I was speaking to Dylan about this yesterday. I'm looking at doing a ground up construction builder's risk. Yeah. Nice. How did that fall into my lap? Just asking relevant questions as I'm doing the home quote. You know what I mean? So right now I'm sticking to the homes. I don't want to dive too deep into commercial just yet. Again, I'm just one man. I don't have the luxury of three VAs. You know what I mean? It's coming. Not yet. It's coming. But yeah, right now, homes is definitely very sticky business and like where I'm trying to focus.
Will you quote them over the phone? Like if you're on the phone with them, will you, like for me, I would try to quote over the phone, but then, man, as we've grown and as we have so many carriers, I typically am just discovery call, let them off the line, quote, call back to close. Are you quoting like on that first kind of point that first conversation? Are you trying to quote the home at least with somebody, or are you more, hey, rapport building, collecting information, then going to quote and presenting? What's your setup there? Yeah, man,
time is very valuable, and with the home quote, that could go on for a little while, just asking all these questions. I like to get all fact find and get all my information up front, and then go and run the quotes, because we have so many carriers that we could run the home quote to. Like my go-to is SageSure right now, but like, let's say SageSure isn't as competitive, right? Now I got to pivot and go to another carrier and run that quote. And, that could be anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. And I like to take my time with certain things so that when I come back, I'm presenting, my best option for the customer, and, just educate them from there and just lead to a smooth transition to the close.
Yep. 100%. Love that. Dylan, what are your thoughts on the line of business? If you had to tell somebody, like for me, again, I was an Allstate guy, so you didn't ever have that. Like you didn't do commercial insurance with Allstate. I mean, you could, but dude, it sucked that it didn't pay well. Like it was all through brokerage departments and crap. It's like you sold auto and home insurance, and that's how you made money in insurance. Obviously, independent world changed my mind, but it even took quite a while for me to change my mind, where I was still just selling auto and home insurance. And obviously now, that we do it differently, but what are your thoughts if you had to tell somebody what to do?
So, I mean, everyone paints their own picture. for me, I like to diversify, right? I like the home and the auto, but I also like the monster policies that can make you a ton of money. I'm not going to turn down the policy that can make me a 6-figure commission.
Yeah.
But I'll say a majority of my book is really focused on the real estate side of things. And it could be anything from a single family home, multi-family home, or just a very large apartment building. It could be a condominium association. It really just depends on what it is. But I think it's very, very good to diversify because, in my opinion, let's say all you do is trucking, right? It could be kind of scary because there's some months where you're making 50, 60,000, and then there's some months where you're paying back the commission.
They hurt. Some of those months can hurt, man.
And then with these tariffs and the gas prices, I don't even know how some of these truckers are surviving. So for me, I do trucking sometimes. I'll do the box trucks, and I'll write the policy. Then I get a call like 6 months. Hey man, I gave it a shot. I'm actually going out of business, and that sucks, right? Because that's like a $20,000 to $30,000 policy getting canceled.
Yep.
But when you have a good foundation of homes and autos that are constantly renewing, like Derek said, it's great. That's a great foundation. It's sticky business, and that's going to truly build up your book. But then when you're also doing like a large apartment building, right, or a large portfolio where the commission could be 50, 60, 80, maybe even 100 grand, that could really allow you to receive a good amount of revenue, invest that back into the company, and then you focus on scaling. So it could really change the shift of the way you grow as a business owner, right? Or just as an agent. And speaking of agent, I don't even like to really consider myself as like an agent or broker. I like to more so like position myself as like an insurance consultant or strategist, right?
Like that.
I try to make the clients feel very comfortable, right? And the way I really branded myself is when a client comes to me or a referral partner comes to me, when I give them that quote, sometimes they don't even question it because like my reputation where like if something happens, they know they're covered, right? Now, everyone's going to run into those customers they just want a piece of paper, right? That says they have insurance. But when you have the right clientele and you're protecting people's like large assets and you position yourself like a consultant or a strategist, it allows you to get a certain type of clientele. It allows you for those clients to trust you and trust the business that you're placing there, where they're like, it's okay. If Dylan gave me the policy, I know I'm good if anything happens, right? So I think that's super important, right? Where the clients could just trust you.
I mean, that's on that big account that I just renewed. I mean, because it went down like $66,000. Nothing really changed. They're still not even 100% operational, but just a decrease, right? Which is a substantial decrease for them. Not I say for them. They don't really care. They're like, yeah, we barely made any money last year, and they did like 21 million. And that's like way subpar. Like they're not making money, right? But I mean, it went down, and I told her, I said, hey man, because we've never put a fee on it, but I'm like, all right. It's going down 66. We're going to put a fee on it. But I literally just called Amanda, and I'll come back to your point because it's perfect. It's like literally who are you? Whose hands are you shaking? Yeah. And that just comes down to it, right? Where it's like, dude, I'm shaking. Like where I'm like, hey, by the way, I just want to let you know you're going to see a $15,000 fee on here. She goes, oh, great, yeah, absolutely, okay. And I'm just like, damn, like, they don't even question it or anything like that. It's just like, boom. And that's 100% earned, versus the percent of the percent. So it would just, again, relationships like that. But I think, again, it goes back to the hands that you're shaking. Dylan, I also want to talk about diversification, right? That was definitely something I learned the hard way. A lot of people have heard me say this. So I'm not going to, beat a dead horse here, but it's like, when I got over to the independent side, Texas, it was like, if it can be insured, I'm your guy. I need every single carrier in the state of Texas, and I'm just going to insure everything in Texas, right? Yeah. Spread yourself hella thin, right? It's like life is rough. I'm like you said earlier, Derek, too, I'm spinning wheels, and after 45 days of working on this damn thing, I made $90. And I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. So it's diversification within the products, but then also, something, and that's honestly what I love about Clearview and just the opportunity that we have is, dude, diversification based off of where you physically live too, right? Where as soon as I stopped saying yes to everything in Texas, but yes to everything I wanted across the entire country, I really, again, got to change the hands that I was shaking virtually, right? But still, it changed everything about my business. And especially, I mean, you guys are in New York. I'm in freaking Texas, right? We're crazy, but we're not as crazy, but we still have our moments where dude, I mean, we are down to like one freaking carrier in the state of Texas that would do home insurance that with, you know, whatever wind and hail included. I mean, it was crazy that change, but it's like, well, thank the Lord I can go write business in freaking Indiana and Ohio. Like, don't get me wrong, it's less premiums, but I can write business all day because nothing's happening up there other than, you know, running into a cornfield or hitting deer. They're not having tropical storms or all this stuff that happens, you know, when you have the coastal exposures to that. So I just wanted to point that out. I think because you, Dylan, you're definitely doing business out of New York, right? I mean, you're writing all over, right?
Yeah, I'm really big in New Jersey. And, you know, that's a good point too, because that gives an advantage to your referral partners and your clients as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, imagine, you know, you could only insure their home in, let's say, New York, but they own all these properties in like Florida. And if you're with an agency that's not licensed in Florida and you can't do, you know, be their point of contact for the business in Florida, you know, that kind of sucks, right? I think it's really beneficial for the client when they could call one person for all their needs, regardless of where the properties are, right? So I think that's a huge upside.
Yeah, absolutely. And it always drove me crazy, especially when and I still do obviously a lot of personal lines. But it's like, why am I losing a client? Because they're moving across state lines, you know?
Yeah.
And it just like never made sense to me where I'm like, okay, just because they're moving to Oklahoma doesn't mean they still can't be my client. Right. And I don't know. I guess that's a different market now too, because if you weren't already set up with all the non-residents and all the carriers, it's a little bit more difficult to turn those on now. Again, this is specific to property and casualty, but still, I think it's very powerful, especially on the commercial side. If you're dealing with like real estate investors and they're going and buying shit all across the country because it's a good deal, right? And flipping it, whatever. Okay, cool. Well, so as we kind of start to wrap up here, I want to take just a few minutes just for some, we'll use it as some motivation, we'll call it, right? For the lack of a better term. Derrick, you said this, and I'll actually start with you, Derrick. You said this earlier, right? All it takes is one action. I literally wrote it down. All it takes is just one action, man, and that can just change freaking everything, right? In your wise words, what would be, again, for somebody that's newer, that's somebody that is trying to grow or scale or just take advantage of, you know, this opportunity of insurance, what would be, and again, this can be a loaded question, so if you need to take some time, go for it. But, you know, what is that one action that you would encourage them to take to help take their business to the next level? If you had to say, and I'll give you maybe two actions, right? But like, what would be that one action? And maybe there's sub actions to it, right? What would that be? What would be your words of encouragement?
Dude, if I could keep it general, I would just say, just do it. Just do it. You know, you might be staring at a court form. You don't understand it. Just fill it out. Fill it out. You're going to make mistakes along the way. Just literally do it. Like, nobody starts off, you know, as an expert at anything. You know what I mean? You're gonna fall, you're gonna bump your head, you're gonna make mistakes. And that's all part of the growing process, right? And you know, if you're comfortable all the time, you know, there's no growth. So step out your comfort zone and just do it.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Love it. Hey, that's my saying for this year. It's like, hey, that shit you don't want to do, just do it anyways, man.
Do it anyway.
And we all have that list, right? Especially as entrepreneurs and business owners, we've all got the shit you don't want to do list. And it's like, sometimes it gets really long. We like, just do it anyways. Right. Dylan, what's the one action that you would encourage somebody to do to take their agency to the next level?
Stay consistent. You can't quit. You truly can't quit. My first year in the industry, on a Friday, 4 p.m., I get a call from this business owner. He was getting dropped by State Farm. And if you don't know New York's market, State Farm used to crush it, right? I mean, they were so competitive on the commercial auto, you could not compete with it at all. So he had an unreal rate on a fleet of vehicles. It was actually a clown company out of all companies, right?
Wow.
I worked my butt off for like 2 weeks. I mean, he wanted to turned around on a Friday evening. A fleet of vehicles, not possible.
Right.
And there's not many markets, right? And I shopped around the State Plan, NICO, Progressive, and Progressive is actually one of the only carriers that came back. The issue it was double the premium, but it was the only option. And I called them. I'm thinking I'm going to get the sale. And, you know, I only had my license for about 6 months at this time. It was going to be like a $20,000 commission. I'm all excited. The guy, when I called him, I gave him the price. He goes, "Are you an idiot? I would never do that." And the guy actually sold all of his vehicles and like dissolved the business.
Wow.
Restarted. So that was a tough loss. And a part of me just wanted to quit right there and then. But I kept going. And I could tell you, I've only been in the industry for about 3 years now. and I've taken many, many L's like that. Yeah.
I know some of them too, bro.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if there was one a few months ago. I mean, it was a huge one. It was, it was like $80,000 commission, and man,
Woo!
I had the quotes BOR'd for me right before binding, because one thing I'll tell you about the condominium associations, they're great. They pay extremely well, but everyone on the board thinks they own the place. So if they have a family member or friend, be careful. But there was a few times where I could tell that most people would have quit. You got to stay resilient, man. You got to, I've won a lot of big accounts, but there's a lot of accounts that I lost, and it was a chip on the shoulder. You just got to keep on going, man. And
yeah, a BOR is that one. Ooh, man, it's like I didn't even lose, man. It's like you just freaking signed where I already did all the work. I had one like that. This guy struck gold, and it's funny. You were talking about like how to kind of like pivot, but then also, hey, sometimes I just take a bite of like I have no clue what I'm freaking doing here. And this guy was in Corpus. And he struck gold in this pond, and it was a frac sand mining operation, right? And this pond was just, it was gold. He was projecting like 1.2 million or something like that. Turns out he strikes gold. They're going to do like 30 million in their first year because he's the only guy that has the sand within a 60-mile radius, is the next closest person in town. So all of these people, bro, he was sending me pictures of people lying. I'm like, hold on, bro. Like, we don't have the insurance yet because we are quoting. I'm learning everything about frac sand mining and like the coverages and everything to put in place. Bro, I go to issue it, man, and some other agent like classified him as, or said he should be classified differently. So he just let them BOR it, and then they reclassed him incorrectly to save him like $1,000, and then I lost the entire account. And I'm like, come on, man, like on a freaking on a BOR, but it's real though, right? But at the same time, shit, now I know how to quote a frac sand mining operation. So, the losses turn into lessons for sure.
And then another way to look at it is there's a lot of brokers that don't even get to touch accounts that generate, over $20,000 of commission. So the fact that you're even getting your hands on these big policies, that's a great sign, right? If you lose them, it's always going to keep coming. You just got to stay consistent, stay resilient. And just keep on pushing, man.
And we said it earlier, guys, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So if you're quoting all those big accounts and you do lose one, save all your notes and set a reminder for follow-up, right? And ping them, a couple times a year and just catch them at renewal. Like, it's so many people will do all that work too, and then they'll never call these people again. And it's like, it's okay to lose them, right? You can always come back and win when somebody's more competitive. So, all right. Well, last question I have for you guys. Seriously, thanks for hopping on, man. We're going to have to do this more. I want to do more with just Clearview, right? Where it's, I know we were talking about it last night, Derek, for us bias, dude. We're going to be like the FUBU. We're going to be the FUBU of insurance freaking podcast, dude. The Clearview podcast. But typically the last question I like to ask, man, is just 5 years from now, right? And Dylan, you obviously have your goals. Derek, you've got your goals here. But like 5 years from now, we're not talking 10, 15, retirement. We're not talking next year. But 5 years from now, what do you hope people say about you? Derek, we'll start with you, man. Again, 5 years from now, what do you hope they're saying about Derek?
5 years from now, well, it's not that I hope. We're gonna get there. Derek is he's outstanding to work with, very easy, makes the process very smooth. My staff is incredible. And everybody just wants to refer to me because they know I can get it done, and I have the confidence that I can get it done.
Love it. I love it. Dylan, what you got, man? 5 years from now, what do you hope they're saying about you?
Yeah, man. Just that they could always count on, myself and my office to be reliable, trustworthy, smooth, and easy. Right. There's actually, you'll see a sign out here in New Jersey. There's a company called NJM, and it's insurance without the assuranoia. Right. So I think a lot of people think insurance is annoying. So if we could simplify the process, make it easy, not such a headache, I think that's one thing that I want to make happen for my clients, and they could just always count on us to get it done, smooth and easy. So.
Yep. I love it. Well, you guys heard it here first. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Even if you're catching the replay or not the live, feel free to drop any comments that you may have. We're also going to drop Dylan and Derek's contact information in the comments, so you guys can definitely go follow them and see what all they got going on in their journey as entrepreneurs and business owners scaling this thing within insurance. But, guys, it's been great to be back. You guys know what time it is, though. It is Winning on Wednesday. It is not time to slow down. It is the peak of the week to keep the pedal down. Guys, we have an action-packed show for you next week as well. So you guys know we're here every single week, Wednesday at 9 a.m. Central. Hope you guys have an amazing rest of the week, and we'll see you next one.